Okay, so in our little pre-show convo here, we went down a bit of a rabbit hole. Anybody remember Jared Cowan? So this started with people that were on Robota Island. We listed, okay, Robota, Lupul, Muzzin, Murray, Klingberg was
Corrado.
C, but then who? Frankie Corrado, and then the last one that came up was Jared Cowan. So for anyone who doesn't remember, he came over in the Dion Phaneuf to Ottawa trade. He was a 9th overall pick in 2009, and I believe he suffered a concussion that took him out of the lineup, and he didn't ever play again. So he showed up for training camp with the Avalanche in 17-18, played one preseason game, was cut, and then he retired. So, like the curious mind I am, I was like, oh, I wonder what he's doing now. And Suthy, obviously, like, I mean, you know, they either sell cars or insurance, right?
That's usually it.
So I find searching his name Evolution Raw Dog Food, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a guy with the same name. And so going through this page, I look, there's a few pictures. It's hard to tell. He's got sunglasses and a hat on. It's like, and a sun hat and sunglasses on. Like, what are you doing? Just like you don't want to be recognized. So him and his wife produce raw dog food themselves. It says here on their website, meet the owners. Both Cassie and Jared are hands-on throughout the process, prepare all the raw dog food, source all the supplements, package all the raw meals, and deliver it right to your door. Truly a labor of love. So, shout out to these guys. That's a really cool way to transition out of an NHL career. It's got to be a fun thing to just hang out with all your dogs all day. I think it says they have 4 of them. And B, as Suthy mentioned before we got on here, if anyone's in Saskatoon area, you got to order this to have former 9th overall NHL pick Jared Cowan and his wife show up to your door with dog food.
Not only will you get some premium dog food, you can get a selfie and probably an autograph with that.
Oh, they also make cat food. They have raw meat patties, freeze-dried raw, dry food, meaty bones, treats and chews, puzzles and toys. They have everything. So this is just the last thing that you expect a retired NHLer to be doing, but good for Jared Cowan.
Yeah, and in no way are they catching strays here. We are totally supportive of this. This is awesome.
Yeah, this was more of just a shock, if anything. Like, I had to verify if this is in fact the same person. And I mean, come at me if you can prove otherwise, but everything I've found, this is them. There surprisingly are not a lot of people with that name.
Also Milan McCulloch and Nathan Horton on Robota Island.
Oh, of course. Nathan Horton, who we traded away and then traded back for, I believe.
And David Clarkson the second time he came to Toronto.
Oh my God.
When you come back the second time, you're usually banished to Robota Island.
And just so everyone's aware, the whole conversation started because of these amazing shirts.
Oh, hell,
what a beauty shirt.
Joey Ferg on Twitter.
Yeah, huge the Miami island vibes with Robota Island is so nice. It's like GTA Vice City. I was thinking we should make one that's like, you know, like the names like something and something and something and something, but just like all the names of people on Robota Island. See if people can put it together by looking at the names. Like, wait a second, what do these guys all have in common? Oh no.
What does Robota think about this? It's like a huge feather in its cap, right?
That's something that I guess is never talked about, is like, why don't they ever bring Stefan Robota on and ask him about how he feels about being like the namesake? Because this is all
he's known for. It like, he had a pretty good career, whatever, but like this is what he's known for now, especially like in Leafs Nation.
Oh, there's young Leaf fans that have no idea who he is or was, or just know that that's the name of the island. Like, oh man. So I guess Simon America, as they used to say on AFV, find any retired NHLer who has an interesting career now, because you know, not everybody makes millions over the course of their NHL time and can comfortably retire. So see if you can find anybody who's doing something different.
This could be a segment for us, I think.
Yeah, like everywhere.
What are they doing now? Yeah.
Oh, where are they now? People that you never thought about. Like, you didn't question where they went, but we're going to tell you. New segment. We got to think of a name for it.
We should almost cut this so no one steals it.
Nah, we're gonna just start it. We'll be the first ones, so everybody will just
right here.
everybody will know that we started it, because that's definitely how that's worked before. Speaking of shirts, though, we have a bunch of new designs. I know I've been talking about this for a while, but I finally spent a couple hours yesterday leading up to and during the game. I was working on designs, so there's a couple new shirts hitting the store. Some things I've been talking about for a while. Some inside jokes of this show if you're a fan, and some just plain old Leafs Late Night fun retro style neon merch. So yeah, cool stuff hitting the show. If you have any ideas for things, or if you want anything dropped in there, shoot me a message and I can see what I can put together. Shout out to Mikey D of Beleafers Pod.
There you go.
For shooting me a couple messages. I asked him for some input, and he helped come up with a couple designs you'll see shortly.
We sincerely love you, and we will properly plug you at the end of this pod, I promise.
Fuck me. All right, so we'll call it the Duality of Fan. We went from like the weirdest, shittiest start to a game to the strangest comeback to the biggest blowout of the season into back-to-back games. And it showed every side of Leafs Nation. So let's talk about that. Come on.
Intro us.
I'm trying.
First, Mikey D, and now our intro.
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer.
Get it together, Johnny Ross.
Fired.
Your post-game
You're never gonna host again.
And now, your starting lineup. Roscoe, the Fanalist, Suthy, Biehn, and Darty Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Okay, so I am not going to beat around the bush about this. I turned off the Columbus game after the second period. I know a lot of people also did the same, and there was a bit of a war back and forth because obviously the game ended very differently than the second period ended.
You were nasty
So,
about it too.
let's-
Let's not sugarcoat that. You
No,
fucking
and
done with this?
I'm prepared to
We got
talk
into
about
it
it
a
at
bit.
least, to air it out. So what
You were
is it?
starting a Senators podcast at that point.
Oh god, I might as well. But at the same time, Columbus is known for blowing leads this year. They have the most, or in the top for first period goals, or for
I think they are.
not first period, but scoring first. I think they said they're one of the top teams for scoring first, but they're in the bottom of the league for standing. So obviously they're horrible at holding on
Also
to the
for
lead.
blowing leads.
But-
yeah.
Blowing a lead is one thing. 5-0 to a tie
In
is
one period.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, I mean, we saw the Leafs score 4 in a period, and that was the most all year, and now 5. So let's talk about what it means to be fed up with a team and sticking through, and really what that game tested everybody for. So go for it, Suthy.
I think we're coming from different angles here. Like, I wasn't super frustrated with them in that game. They haven't lost in regulation in a long time. I figured they were due. And the fact that they came back in that game was a huge testament to how they've been playing, like, as a team game. So I took that as a big win, not a loss.
Yeah, and look, I turned it off,
And
obviously
Sammy
not
sucked.
knowing. I turned it off after the result of the first 40 minutes, right? Like, I had it playing in my office, and I could have gone back, and I checked back that it was 5-3, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? But I didn't watch the period. So I guess where I was coming from is that time is money. Money is money. I mean, there are people that paid to go to the game. It's been said on other shows, like, most people get to go to one game in their life, maybe like 3 tops. Like, if you're really lucky, you go to 10. If you're working, more. But like, the point is, it's not easy to go to Leaf games, and people are there for an entertaining experience, and the team did not deliver a product worth watching for an entire 40 minutes. Look, I get it, they had the dad's trip. Ty definitely took them out. Like, come on. You don't think these guys had a fun night in New York before they came home after that back-to-back? Like,
Of course they fucking did. But to say they didn't have like an experience in that game, like the first 40 minutes, sure, but they were never louder as they were in that last 20 minutes. That was the experience.
yeah,
That was the
it's-
loudest I've heard that arena in a long time.
100%.
and I'm glad
And
that
I was
it
there
loud.
for his 60th goal.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm glad it was loud. Obviously, it's an insane thing to happen, but like there were people leaving, and I guess I'm just trying to say that I don't blame people for leaving or turning it off at that point because of the expectation of the product that was delivered. Like, this is not a team that you expect to just show up asleep against one of the worst teams in the league, allow 5 goals against, and basically just phone it in. Like, what are you like? This is at least 2 hours of your time at that point, like 2 periods. I mean,
So the entire time that Matthews has been there, they have historically shown up late to every game versus a bottom feeder team.
there's showing
So
up late
it's to
and
be it's to be expected.
okay, but that first goal, you've got Domi passing it right to Kent Johnson, who centers it to wide open Line A in front of the net, who buries it 1-0. I'm like, that's not a good start. But look, shit happens. Then the second goal, where you have Riley just la-di-da throws it along the boards. Like, from then on, it was okay. Nobody is here. There's a difference between like a couple guys having an off night and the whole team just really not trying. Like,
Here's the
I
thing
get
I don't get.
it's shitty Columbus and they're not the best and yada yada, but you gotta try.
Like, how many games are we into, like, double digits that they have not lost in regulation? So even if they did shit the bed in this game, whatever, it's a bad game. Let's chalk it up to that. But they came back in the third and showed, like, what this team is actually made of. I thought it was a huge character win. Like, not they didn't win the game, but it was like a huge character moment for this team.
Yeah,
I don't get the shitting on it.
I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that they came back. It does show a lot of growth in the team that they were able to turn it on. I'm just saying that I'm defending people that were like, after 40 minutes of gameplay of that, they went, I don't need to watch another 20 tonight. I have other shit that I can do. There's dishes, there's laundry, there's like, there's life. And it's, like I said, it's an hour-ish of your time, if not more, that you're committing to it. Like, you got to spend your time wisely. And if the entertainment isn't there, I don't blame people for not sticking it through. Like, if you paid to sit in the game and you left, that's kind of crazy. Like, I don't see the point in spending the money to go if you're going to leave after 40 minutes. But
Turn
like,
it off when
if
you're
you're at
watching.
home,
I get, sure, that's fair. Biehn.
I've left one sporting event early my entire life, and it was a Marlies Hershey Bears playoff game that the Marlies were already down. I think it was 4-0 and allowed 2 shorthanded goals in the same penalty. So at that point I left, but I won those tickets. I didn't even pay for them. So
Here's what I'll
that
say
was
though.
a little bit of a
I
different
don't
story.
think the Penguin game happens without how that Columbus game went through, because they bounced back in a certain way. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, it's such a petri dish. Like, for years, everybody's been saying, "Oh, the Leafs aren't any good in the playoffs. The Leafs aren't any good in the playoffs because you can't, outscore your problems in the playoffs." Now they're not outscoring their problems. They're winning tight games. They're losing tight games. So many losses in overtime. Oh, but that's not conducive to a successful team. Like Marty says it all the time lately on Twitter. It's constantly moving the goalposts to fit your narrative, to
100%.
create negative press about the Leafs because it sells.
Yes, there's an element of that because obviously with the most media around this team, everyone gets the clicks for, we get to shit on the Leafs. But I think there's also an element of people are frustrated, and if they don't see growth out of this team, there's more frustration, right? Like we've seen year after year with the same group, no results in the playoffs. So I think people are raising the expectations in the regular season for like, I don't care about the points. I want to see how you're winning the games, how you're showing up to these battles. Like that's what people are looking for now instead of just regular season points.
That
They're
game
winning these
was the
games like
growth,
close
though.
playoff games.
They went to the locker room after the second and said, "Fuck, boys." They looked each other in the eyes and they said, "This is unacceptable. This is not how we play. This is not the team we are." And they came out and they got a point out of it, right? They scored fucking 5 goals in that period. And they
I'm not saying
tallied
it's
that
not growth.
afterwards. I know, but they parlayed that afterwards into a 7-0 win against Pittsburgh. Those two go hand in hand.
I don't disagree with that. What I'm trying to say is that, like, there's not negative media around everything. We're not changing the goalposts on everything. Like, I think there's more scrutiny on this team. There's more frustration from the fan base because we've gone through Kyle Dubas now, his entire era with the team, and all we got was a first-round victory. I think people are more frustrated than ever because there's been little change roster-wise. There's been little success difference. Like,
Little
basically
change. There's been like 9 players minimum changed every year.
on the fringe, right? Like, we've seen
hear
the
you.
same core run back. It's been the same center of this team. The guys that play 80% of the minutes are exactly the same. Like, we were told, like, we're almost there, we're almost there, we're almost there. We're still almost there. We're onto a new GM and all these guys' contracts are expiring. I'm trying to defend the fact that I think people are more frustrated at this point because the clock is ticking. Like, we're now at the point where we might lose William Nylander because there's no money anymore. Like, that whole era might be over where we've got him on this team at a nice deal. Like, people are mad, and I don't blame them for being mad.
And I will say this, like, Toronto is a playoff-based team at this point, right? Like, the ebbs and flows of a regular season are going to be hard to swallow. Whether you're losing or winning, it doesn't really matter, so you're going to go pretty hard into it. But when it gets to the playoff, that's when this team is actually going to show what it's made of. So until then, the storylines are going to go up, they're going to go down. It's going to be...
You're right. Does it matter?
It's such a toxic place. Like,
Are they going to play Columbus in the playoffs? Of course not, because they're horrible. So does it matter that they're not great against Columbus that one night? No, it really doesn't. I guess the gist of my whole thing here is time is an investment, and you can spend it however you see fit. And if the thing that you are spending it on is not delivering what you want it to, you can walk away from that. And
it's a
blame you.
microvision into like what you expect them to do the whole season. So they shit the bed this game. The roof is collapsing. We're gonna go hard on it. Whatever. On to the next game.
Yeah.
That's always what it's gonna be in an 82 game schedule.
Yeah, when you want to see growth from a team and a team that's going to be the difference this time, because there has been so many changes. Like, I know I said there's no roster changes. This is probably the most high-profile pieces we've seen change in a long time.
Yeah.
So people have the expectation that, okay, we're going to see something a little different this year. So to come out with the first 40 minutes like that, yeah, it's frustrating. And you can chalk it up to moving the goalpost, but, like, I don't know. The numbers are only so much. Like, shout out, I love you, Marty, and I know you with the PSAs of their record and everything. But
I love you too, Marty.
It's like I said, people are looking at games differently. Like, numbers are one thing. Yeah, the points are great, but people look at how they show up to games, how they play, how they win, and how they lose. And so when they lose badly or they make shitty mistakes, people are angry, and I don't blame them.
Here's my last point on this: is they didn't lose badly.
They didn't lose badly, but they played horribly for 40. They lost 40 minutes of the game, which I know is moving the goalpost by definition, by changing the end time of the game. But like, when you play like that, yeah, it's just
It wasn't a good look for the first 40 minutes. Let's put it that way. Like,
yeah,
that's
nobody
not
played
the team
well.
we expect.
Sammy
It
let in
definitely
bad
wasn't.
goals. Everybody was coughing the puck up. Like, and they're playing a team that can't put 2 and 2 together. Like, they literally just got rid of their coach. Like.
But when you can play the majority of a game like that and still come back and salvage a point, like,
Yeah, it's great.
there is a bright
Positive.
side
And
there.
I think
the
you
end.
nailed it too. Like, Sammy is a huge issue in that game, right? He was
Yeah,
a big
'cause-
something. They play so differently in front of him than they do even like Jones or Wall, especially
'Cause-
Wall.
Exactly. When you play badly, you want to at least be able to count on one thing. Like, and when your goalie's
Yeah.
not there for you either, that's a problem. So
There's that clip
it's-
like when he got scored on and Tavares like turns around, he's like, "What the fuck?" It's the
Yeah,
one time
that
he
was
didn't put his
rough.
glove over his mouth. Like that pretty much
the
sums it up.
last. I think it was the last two. There was the one that went off his mask through the 5 hole, and There was another one that he just didn't see. It went over his shoulder. Like either the third or the fourth, they were just really bad. The first two
The
I
whole
don't
team
blame
was
him
really
for
bad
because
too.
they
Like,
were horrible turnovers.
as you
Like
said,
that's
like they were all terrible, but he was especially bad. Like he let them down in critical spots.
yeah. And I'm not saying it's the goalie's job to be the savior when the team's playing like shit, but it's
You're still expected to make a save here and there.
exactly. Okay. So moving on, the grim the grimness came to an end pretty quick. Obviously, Leafs fall in overtime, but it's an absolutely insane comeback.
Yes.
I would break it down, but I
That
didn't
you
watch
missed.
it. Yeah. So before we move on to the next game, anything of note? Like who really led this comeback? Who flipped the switch to turn this into the
Everybody
comeback
that
it was?
you would want to lead the comeback.
It's always
Like,
Matthews. Matthews, the way he's been leading this team is unreal this year. He is a true definition of the leader of this team. It's not even in question anymore. Like this is his team.
like everybody, they flicked a switch and everybody was just going after it.
So did they all take like emergency after the second intermission or something? Like
24-hour energy.
well, not even that.
It's us.
Well, everybody's sick apparently. So was it like that's when the cold meds wore off and they weren't drugged up anymore, or that's when they took some like here we gotta get this in you to feel better? They took the Athletic Greens, not a sponsor. AG1, I think they're called now.
Who knows?
Who fucking knows? But they turned it on. They did it. I'm glad they did. But obviously, it burned the tank out on Matthews because him and somebody else was absent last night.
Brody.
Brody, yeah.
Right. Shout out, buddy of mine. Last minute, his girlfriend got them like 100 level seats for that game, and he's like, "I haven't been to a game in 15 years." I'm like, "All right, let's go." And sure enough, craziest game of the season. So
What a
got
game
some
to
fun,
be at.
fun snaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
the
on to
Duality
tonight,
of
though.
Fan.
Or last night, rather.
Yeah. Holy shit. GM Kyle Dubas returns with Monsieur Spezza. And I said last time they played the Pens, like, what's the best way to stick it to Dubas? And everyone was saying win, or, you know, what do we have to stick it to Dubas for? It's like, well, because it's fun. It's hockey.
You know what?
but most
The
people
He's
boys
said
no
don't care
longer
about
with our
that.
team.
Most people said win or blow them out. So I'm glad that it didn't happen the first time, but it happened the second time. So here we are. 7-0 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are in a bit of a predicament this year. But
Yeah, they're
let's get into it. Let me pull up some stuff from the game here. You guys want to start her off?
I feel this was
First
one of
thing
the
first-
most. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, welcome to the NHL, Matthew Nyes. Like,
Holy
Yeah.
shit, right?
I've loved this kid forever, and he's shown
Couldn't agree
glimpses
more.
here or there, but that is one of the best games he has played since he's come up. Like getting the Gordie
Yeah.
Howe hat trick too. Like,
I didn't even think like talent wise it was his best game, but just as he is as a hockey player, the fact that he stood up for Domi, he realized that wasn't great. His assists, his goal was fucking dirty as shit. But that was one of his best all around games. And that's something we can expect, I think, from him going forward. Like this guy is a beast. He is going to
Like-
manhandle people.
to me, he reminds me of like a prime Rick Nash. Because he's big, he'll cut to the net, he's got a wicked shot.
I think he's nastier
Like-
though.
Oh, he's definitely nastier. But like every time he just drops his shoulder and cuts to the net, that's just instantly what I think is Rick Nash from all those highlight reels in the early thousands.
He's 21 years old and he's like just figuring out how big he is and how much he can use his body as he's playing hockey with his skills. So I think as he develops that, he's going to be unreal.
Yeah, I mean, look, Thompson, Monsieur Tage Thompson, that the fucking announcers always love to bring up, but it's just an easy go-to for a big power forward these days. But he didn't break out at 18, 19 into the star
No
that he
power
is now.
forwards
Like,
that age do.
yeah, I think you gotta figure out how to use your size, right? Like you guys have been saying, like how do you use what has for the last 10-ish years been a disadvantage to your advantage? Like how do you push through these fast people? How do you make up for having a little less speed? It's not easy. But I mean, look, Chris Kreider out of nowhere, standing in front of the net, scored like 40 goals 2 years ago. So it's I think once they figure it out, it's there. So.
Yeah. I thought, like, if you can develop your man strength and your skill, that's a huge asset. And not many people do it, but when you do, like you said, those type of players, it just all of a sudden clicks.
So seventh goal of the season for Knives at the 18:03 of the first there. So right at the beginning, and holy shit. Immediately after, like minutes later, like we said, getting into a fight. So Gordie Howe hat-trick watch was on with 55 minutes left in the game. All he needed was an assist. So that's quite a way to start your first real year in the big leagues. I'm really impressed by what we're seeing from him.
And
Him and Domi, fuck.
Well, and the way it happened too, it wasn't like one of them cheesy fights that was staged or anything like that. Like almost David Perron-esque with what happened with Larkin. Like he saw Domi go down, he felt it was dirty, and he just fucking went after him.
Exactly what we've been asking for, right? Like you said, it
pushes.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't hugs after the whistle that turned into a couple shots. It was like somebody jumping to the defense of another player, which is, again, exactly what we've been asking for.
Before we get too carried on, like I feel that was a theme all night. Like they protected Jones. They stood up for the players all night. It was a very chippy affair for a Leafs game. Like they showed a lot of oomph.
Yeah, I mean, Lagesson and McCabe and Benoit have been fantastic at just demolishing people the last couple of games, and I love that they've figured out, okay, we're gonna do our thing instead of, I know that you guys have your system, and I think they've shifted away. Instead of trying to shovel these guys into what Brody and Gio have been doing, they're like, just fucking hit somebody.
Also played like McCann, Lejoie, Nyes, Robertson, all these young guys had a huge game tonight. Last night, rather.
Yeah.
McMahon's been playing great for the last handful of games he's come up. It's like he does not want to be sent back down.
Yeah, Bobby McMahon, hungry. Damn. McNuggets and Timbits. That's my my two food related guys on the team now. Benoit with 3 hits last night, so fantasy watch, pick him up if you need hits. Also +2 on the night, 2 penalty minutes. Like, I mean, these guys that, again, I keep saying, like, are these the ones you want to bring to playoffs, are starting to just become the everyday guys by default, that they're here every day.
Like, these guys are players. They're hungry to play. They're eager to play. They don't have any history with this team whatsoever. So it's a whole new chapter, right?
And they're getting minutes. Something that the Leafs are always incapable of giving new players. Which is interesting
because who wasn't playing last night, right? So everybody else gets to jump up a little bit. Like, especially Domi. I thought he shined more than anybody else.
Yeah, and I think with the defense, like, yeah, we've had a lot of injuries last year, and they were flipping people around. But this year, it's kind of been steady that it's been one person out, one person out, one person out. So the same group of guys have been with the team pretty much all year. And these are guys that I don't think we're expecting to get. Like, how many fucking NHL games have these guys played now? Like 25? Some of them? So that's experience that they would probably not have gotten this year if everybody was healthy. And, you know, you see things develop in that time, right? So it's promising, at least.
Absolutely. We traded for basically an older version of Benoit when we got Schenn last year.
That's exactly it.
Fair. Yeah,
right?
Now you've got Benoit for cheaper, so... Yeah, it would have been nice to keep Luke Schenn for the vibes and the
that was my biggest takeaway from last night, is like these young players, or players who have not played with the Leafs for that long. With Austin Matthews like being out, they just stepped up and showed what they can actually do for this team. And it was very, very encouraging because we haven't seen a bigger group of players doing what they did last night in a very long time.
Yeah, and I mean, this team has a bit of a streak of doing well with Matthews out. I mean, it was a bit of a different makeup of the team, but this is the first time this year where, like you said, like these guys have been faced with it. And yeah, I agree. They really stepped up to the plate and showed that Matthews can take a night off every now and then. And to be fair, he kind of has while he's been there in the lineup. So it was a nice test. Hey, come on. He's had at least 2 or 3 nights of just kind of being there, and I don't blame him. Like, you can't give 100% every night through the regular season.
He's still got his defensive play. I haven't had much to complain about with him this year.
I'm in Biehn Island right now.
But is him playing a perfect defensive game him giving 100%?
Yes.
If that's what's needed,
If
Johnny Myrtle.
If the offense isn't happening, then for sure it is. At least it's not Johnny Siegel. Did you fucking read the thing he wrote about Domi? He's being roasted right now on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh no!
What
What
was
did
it?
he
The Domi
say?
conundrum, I think it was. And then Domi came out and
Yeah.
got 3 points and just fuck you.
Womp womp. No, but look,
Also
you
playing with
pay-
Mitch Marner for the first time since London Knights days. Huge for him.
Okay, I'm not gonna die on this hill.
No.
So-
Let's segue.
So, like we said, new guys. We got Noah Gregor, who I have really liked this year. Finally, with after 3 shots, ends up scoring. Again, just the guy stepping up to the plate. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, he's great.
Fuck, I love Gregor. Who else got one? Tavares,
Jones. How are we
Nylander.
not talking about Jones right now?
Because I want to. I was just going through the goals first to see if there was anything that stood out there.
We'll save him.
But yeah, where there's a wall, there's a way. Because holy shit.
Listen, I was hot on them signing Jones in the offseason. I feel no one else really was. I knew what this guy can bring. He was huge for Seattle. He was great in the Sharks. And he's proving it right now. We were so fucking lucky that he wasn't claimed off waivers.
Yeah, that was something that probably would have happened last year, and I
It would've.
love that the player that would have been claimed had Dubas been the GM ends up getting a shutout against Dubas.
So the irony is not lost.
Is this proof that all the GMs in the NHL hate Dubas because he came in and tried to change the way people manage a team? So it's okay, every single player he puts on waivers, even if we don't want him, let's just take him.
It's proof of something that they irrationally took players off waivers for him.
Look at it this way. If somebody all of a sudden starts buying up all of the GameCube games off of Kijiji in town, people are going to start going, oh, someone wants these, and they'll start charging more for them. I don't value them myself, but if somebody else is going to buy them, I will charge you $125 if that's what it says it's worth online. It's kind of that mentality of if somebody else is putting a value on it, then Dubas likes this guy and he's putting him through waivers. He can't keep him because of something. Great, I'll take it. Maybe I can trade it back to him for something if he wants this guy so bad.
Listen, he's not a Peter Mrazek. This guy was playing for Seattle last year in the second round of the playoffs and putting up good numbers. He is a good goaltender. He's been around for a while. And the fact that he wasn't claimed, he's good, man. He's good. He's a good goaltender.
I think that's what we're seeing is San Jose has been a horrible team for a long time, and the guy was basically wasting away there. And the years on Seattle are completely different. And now we're seeing if you put a team in front of him, a complete team, because Seattle last year was kind of a storybook year for them. Jared McCann scoring that much is not going to happen again, I don't think. But look, he's now in a position where he's got a fully built team in front of him. And I think it's doing well for him, and as it should.
It's his
right?
net, I think, until Wall comes back.
There's a reason Martin Jones has stayed in the league, even though he's sporting a sub 900 every year. There's people are seeing the saves that he is making, regardless of how shitty his team is, and keeping him around.
So, as our in-house goalie, what do you think of this season?
So I was very adamant when he got signed that I was not necessarily happy with it because I feared that this was basically another ticket for Wall to head to the Marlies.
Well, yeah, we talked about that a lot in preseason. Is this just going to bump Wall down a spot? Why did we give him this chance if we're just going to bring in Jones?
No, exactly, and that was my fear because I love Wall and I think I've got a lot of faith in him for the future.
He's our future. He's our goalie.
Yeah. So with Jones, the fact that we were able to keep him, he's had some really good flashes, but it's been really difficult. He had 3 seasons in San Jose when he was one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
And then just completely tanked after that. Now, as Roscoe said, the team in front of him was kind of playing crappy. Even last year with the Kraken, an 887, that's not a great save percentage.
No, they were outscoring all of their problems. They were letting
Exactly.
in 5 and scoring 6. Like, that was their whole year.
So you can kind of look at it. It all depends on the team and how they're doing. Like, no offense to the guy, we turned Jack Campbell into an all-star.
We
We
did.
turn
right.
a lot of people into all-stars, but yeah.
Like, look at what LA's doing right now. They've built a team, and they don't even care who the hell's in net. Whoever is in net out there is doing well. Phoenix Copley, Cam Talbot couldn't stop a beach ball last year, and he's playing great right now.
Fair.
Like,
Yeah,
different
that's a good
goalies,
point.
depending on their style, play better under different systems. Wall is a very efficient goaltender, and he plays very well for us. Sammy is not. Sammy is an acrobatic goalie.
Yeah.
Now, he did have a good season last year, but everyone can have a flash in the pan. So this might be a little bit of that reverting back to it. Jones has been around long enough that he can play that very structured system. So
Interesting. Well, thank you for the inside the goalie mask take.
That's
Oh,
where I
we
think
should
he,
go
like,
in-
the difference from
go
Sammy, though,
inside the
because
goalie.
he's a lot more just like system player. Whereas you said Sammy,
yeah,
he'll ride his confidence. He's a hot type. He's like a 90s like Felix Potvin type of goalie, right? If he's on, he's really great. If he's not, you better score like 6 goals.
yeah.
And,
And
look,
all
this
this to be
team
said-
can do that 8 out of 10
And
times.
I said this earlier. I think Wall is our most important player going forward. This is our guy. He's going to lead us to wherever we go. There's obviously Matthews and all these guys, but I think he's the most important player going forward.
Yeah, I think we're finally seeing the culmination of a lot of development with him. Like, they were very careful about not bringing him up too early. Like, for
Yeah.
the entire existence of this podcast, I've been asking, where the hell is Joseph Wall? So now we're here, and he's great. So I'm glad that they trusted their system and waited until he was absolutely ready and confident that he could do it, because it's paying off.
So this begs the question, what do they do going forward? Do we trade Sammy before the trade deadline? Is Jones our second goaltender? That's one of the biggest questions that has to be going forward with the Leafs.
Well, I mean,
At this point, sorry, Roscoe. Like at this point,
yeah.
you almost have to move him.
yeah, I was just going to
Like,
say
I've
there's a
got
lot of teams
3.5
looking for
too, like-
goalies.
That like the money too, it just makes so much sense for a trade.
Can you trick Edmonton into taking another goalie?
Maybe
Potentially.
Ottawa.
Like, oh, yeah. See, Ottawa's a pretty
No,
frequent
the
trade
corporate
partner
side
with
he's
the
not the
Leafs.
problem there. I'm just very bitter about Ottawa tonight. We're not going to talk about that, but
But no, I think you do have to at least look at it. But I don't think it's as pressing now that Klingberg's LTIR'd for the rest of the season. You've got a bit of a juggle going on here. We haven't talked about Ryan Reeves going down in the most bizarre way possible.
that's nothing. That's nothing.
He's
Down
not
the Mario
expecting
Tube
to
to Rhode Island.
Yeah, he's not expected to miss significant time, but they did move Gio to LTIR, I believe. Today was the
Yeah.
move.
But there's no
So-
way, like, this goaltender controversy is not going to be a thing going forward, especially with Toronto media or, like, Toronto, like, Twitterverse, whatever you want to, like, phrase it as. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah, like what do you do when you've got all 3 of them healthy? Like, who do you send? Like, you can't. God damn. I mean, you could try to send Jones down, but after that performance, I don't know if he'll clear waivers again.
He won't.
Keep Wall and Jones and send Sammy down. If someone claims him, okay, yeah, you lose him for nothing, but you're not paying that salary.
Or you make a trade
honestly-
and you throw him in for, like, cap just to make it work money-wise.
I would rather lose him on waivers than pay somebody to take him, but I don't see anyone claiming
You don't
that
pay someone
contract
to
off
take him.
waivers.
Not a
But
chance.
yeah, I think the position of power in the trade is the person with the goalie, not the person looking for one. Like, you can say the contract's not great or he's a bit questionable all you want, but
Yeah.
you need a goalie and I have one, so do you want him or
You're
not?
very right. And at that
Well,
point, like, you'd have to let Sammy take the net for a while to show that he's capable of, being worth a trade, right?
Yes
This
and
is
no,
all
because
complex.
goalies are notoriously kind of fucked in the head, and that's coming from a goalie. And a lot of goalie coaches are former goalies, so I can pretty much guarantee you there is at least one, if not a handful of goalie coaches in their GM's ear right now saying, hey, we can save him. We can turn him into an all-star. Get him.
It's funny what you're saying because Edmonton is not like a terrible candidate for this right now. Like Picard
Well,
is
yeah, they
doing
don't know how to play
terrible.
defense.
Like all their goaltenders are fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's just the story would be crazy that like we're just kind of if the goalie doesn't work here, we ship them off to Edmonton. Like, is that the deal?
Yeah, it's not a
Oh
good
my
look.
god,
Fucking goalies.
I don't. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's as pressing. Like before the deadline, maybe. Yeah,
It's not pressing. You're right.
I think it could be an interesting piece now that this has all shaped up this way and Jones is playing well. If you're looking for a defenseman, you now have Sammy as a bargaining chip that I don't think you thought you had 2 weeks ago. So that becomes a factor in trades. So yeah, could be interesting.
Let's see
what
how he
Brady
plays
can
going
pick up.
forward, right?
It is making me worried that the Calgary Flames that he built are continuing to suck. Not giving me much faith in the moves he's going to make, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'm opposite of you, I think. I got a lot more faith in him than you do.
I'm not saying I don't have faith in him. I'm just saying it worries me a little that the people that he brought in Calgary are all slow, but whatevs.
Well, yes
You're
and
not
no.
wrong
He was
there.
forced to trade his best player for
Yeah.
pennies on the dollar. And like that being said, at the time we all thought he made a decent deal. But like that's not,
Not looking
you're
too
not
good
dealing
right
from a
now,
position of
though.
strength there.
I mean, yeah, you got to figure out.
Isn't he in like
Anyway.
year one of his deal right now?
Yeah.
Of the
Those
extension,
guys are
yeah.
fucking saddled with that. Woo, you talk about Robot Island? Jesus.
Talk about saddled.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of goalies, shout out again to Hildeby. He's still lighting it up in the AHL.
Nice. Love that. Love to hear it. He'll be
182 goals against average, 929 save percentage.
be a battle between him and Wall one day. So last thing, GM Kyle Dubas throwing a bit of a fit. A couple people that missed the game were asking if he was there. Shout out Sarwa. He was, and he was not happy. You could tell.
Not available for post-game media either.
Of course, he wasn't. I'd say by goal 3 or 4, he was crushing some empty bottles back there with his angry
He
fists.
did have like classic move where he stood up, moved the vest like that, and sat back down, and Jason Spezza was writing "We fucking suck" in his notebook.
Oh, what does this team do? It's
What
Exactly
do they
what we
do? Like this
expected.
is one of Crosby's last great years. Like he's having a renaissance right now. This guy is playing unreal. They moved the farm to get Carlson. They re-up their goaltender. Malkin's playing like shit. Like what do they do here?
honestly, like the move was bringing Eric Carlson in for the last hurrah. You know, go for one more, and now you're kind of stuck with that contract for more than a couple of years. Like, I don't know,
Thank
man.
God we didn't trade for him.
We tried so many times.
I feel so bad for Crosby right now. Like I really, really do.
Yeah,
Like, to put it into context, Crosby is what, 36?
Yep.
yeah.
So he's on pace for like 50 goals this year.
Yeah,
Right?
for the second time ever, we'll hit that.
Gretzky's 36 age year, he had 25.
No, he's unreal. Right? Like he's playing as if he's playing when he was like 29 right now. Like his game
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
But they just can't put it together around him, and I don't like that's Dubas's job. Like when your star is playing his best season ever, and the team around him sucks. Like, sorry.
You know
Like-
what the move is? You trade him to Colorado. He plays with Nathan McKinnon, another fucking Cole Harbor boy. 1-2 punch.
I don't know if he'd wave.
No, I
he
think
never,
Crosby's more
never would
worried
do
about
it.
his
But
legacy
if you were
there.
to trade him, that's where he goes.
On
It would,
the
be,
other
it would be
side,
Montreal if anywhere he grew up a Habs fan.
Oh yeah, you know
fucking
what?
god awful. He would never finish his career there. They're way too shitty.
Guess how many goals Alex Ovechkin's on pace for?
10?
Under like 25, 20.
Well, he hasn't scored in 11 or 12 games, so...
That's a real problem.
How do I do this math again? It's like,
Which is kind of crazy because he is like, as a power play specialist, he's on the top of the circle. He gets the one timer, he claps it in. It's not very skilled. It's just a great shot.
And it's funny
not been
because
working.
for
here,
for years everybody's just always said plant someone on him. Like you're short-handed, you're
shadow
already
on
down. Just someone else can score. I don't care. He's not scoring because that's all he did was stand there and shoot, and he still got his goals every
When I
game.
was younger, we used to play against someone who was way better than anyone on our team, and our coach would assign someone, be like, don't do anything except for be on this guy's shadow. That's all you do all game.
so he is on pace, if my math is correct, for 14 or 15 goals this year. He's got 5 goals through 28 games. He hasn't scored, I think, in like 12 games now. If he finishes the year with anything under 20, he has never finished a season with a 1 as the first digit in his goals.
How many does he have until Gretzky's record?
70 something, I think.
He's at 827, so
Yeah, so 68, 69, something like that.
yeah.
Quick math in my head.
Not looking
Guy
good.
who's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 50-goal seasons.
No,
Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy.
aside from Matthews, he's the best goal scorer in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Because Matthews has better numbers.
Yeah, well, I mean, 52 goals in his first year.
Over
with
longevity,
Caps.
obviously Ovi does, but
Yeah. It's just, it's on one end, it feels like the end of an era with Ovi, and on the other side with Crosby, it feels like, you know,
he's got way more.
he's got
Feels
more
like
in the
he's
tank,
got like
and what do you
3
do?
more years in the tank.
Again, I mean,
What's-
we felt that way about Ovi last year, so you never know.
True,
I think
true.
you got to treat every year like, you know, if he's on this year, you got to use it while it's here.
The
Like,
discrepancy is huge this year.
yeah, and it has never been through their entire run together.
You also have to look at the style of game they play too, right?
Oh,
Like-
completely different.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So Crosby's style is more conducive to being better over the long term.
Really, because I would think that Ovi's style is easy, like to stand there in a spot and wait for the puck to shoot it.
But-
Like seems pretty light on your body.
But he's
So-
been doing just that for so long that that's all he has now.
Are you saying he's
Right,
cramping
like,
up in the office? He's getting carpal tunnel in the office?
Performance anxiety. No. Like when he came in, he was deking, he was running through guys, he was doing everything. And then over the course of a handful of years, it turned into just shot after shot after shot. Whereas Crosby, if he's snake bitten, okay, he's still winning draws. He's still playing defensively. I know you don't think that's important, Roscoe.
Oh my
But-
god, that's not what I said.
He
No,
dominates
I just-
offense on the
I had to
boards.
dig
Like
it.
he cycles like no other. He plays a full game.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He does it to pull a Don Cherry. He does all the little things, right?
Yes.
Like so even if it's not going well for him on the score sheet, he still has other aspects to the game to bring. And the more you're out there, the more you're doing, the better chance it is that you're going to catch fire again.
He
a great
impacts
point.
the game in other ways.
He's not just skill. He has the hard work to go with the skill.
So, from Sportsnet, I was listening to their podcast the other night with JD Bunkus, Sam McKee, and Justin Bourne. And they were saying, would you trade Crosby for Nylander or Marner? And they all said yes. And I didn't know how to feel about
They
that.
said yes as who? As Toronto?
Yes.
Not okay.
Totally
Here's-
irrelevant to our conversation right now, but I had to
No,
bring it up
it's-
because I heard it and I was thinking, like, what the fuck, really? Like,
It's not completely irrelevant. We can segue to this. The only way, like, if they brought in some defenseman through a trade that they were going to re-sign that was going to cost a bit of money that made it so that Nylander was impossible, that maybe at the deadline, if we're like, guys,
Yeah.
this is the year, like, Nylander's not going to re-sign. He's told us, like, if you
Yeah.
can't offer me this much, and they say we can't, that's if in that world, in that box, send Nylander to Pittsburgh.
and the whole
to
premise
Dubas.
is like you send him off to another team to win a cup within 1 or 2 years, right? Is it the Leafs? Is it the Avalanche? Like, would you actually do that?
Did
Marner,
I hear you
no.
wrong there, Sully? Did you say Nylander and Marner, or Nylander or Marner?
Or one of the two.
Okay,
Marner,
I
I
thought you
don't
said
understand.
and. That's why I was like, no,
No,
absolutely
no,
not.
no,
We're
no,
not
no,
doing
no.
both
Would you
of them.
trade up Marner or Nylander?
I guess the idea with moving Marner is to free up cap space over a longer period of time. Because what's Crosby's contract?
But I was
like
thinking
right
about
now?
it, and like, would I actually do this? And it's enticing as hell, but
Crosby's
I'm not
8.7 this
sure I
year and
would.
next.
Where does he play? Because Tavares is your second line center. Matthews is obviously your first. Tavares is way too slow to play on the wing.
Matthews would go wing. Look at the World Cup when he was
Wait.
playing with McDavid on Team North America.
His face-off percentage and like his defensive prowess, unless if he played like center position in the defensive zone and then went winger in the offensive zone.
I feel like you kind of just end up with all-star rules at that point where you've got two centers on the first line and they just figure it out. Like,
But they were so like hell bent on it. Like yes, yes, yes.
I see the only argument I'd make for the Marner thing is you're getting 2 years of Crosby at 8 points or a year and a half of Crosby at 8.7 and
money,
you're freeing up that money for the rest of time. But
Yeah.
the downside is you don't have Mitch Marner, which is what you're fucking paying for. So I don't see. I personally wouldn't make that trade, but I understand the argument to it. Nylander, like I said, in that perfect world, I would pull that trigger. But again, I really hope that they can figure things out with him, money wise. But if it makes more sense to bring in, if we have to do we have to re-sign Joseph Wall?
This is pure fantasy talk, by the way. Like we're
Of
just
course.
shooting the shit here.
Do we have to
So-
re-sign Joseph Wall this year?
We have Wall again next year at 766.
Oh, but we don't have
He's got one
Jones,
more year.
Sammy. So, I mean, if you have to bring in a goalie to back up Joseph Wall that you've got to spend a little money on to make sure that it's solid, you're bringing in a defenseman. Like, there's a couple things that, like, if it's this or Nylander, it's got to be a really good this. I would rather them work out
So-
bringing Willie back.
Me too.
At this point, we have $33.4 million of available cap next year.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, yeah, a lot, but then when you take
Well,
off
it's spaces to
Nylander,
fill.
Bertuzzi, Domi, Robertson, Gregor, McMahon, Brody, Liljegren, Benoit, Lagesson, Lajoie, Samsonov, Jones, Giordano.
And also
Like-
Bertuzzi, I think he might have played his best game as a Leaf Saturday
I think
night.
so too. Like, yeah, you
But what
can
I'm-
obviously replace all these guys, but like for 33 million, that's going to get eaten up pretty quick.
With
Yeah,
the cap
but-
increase?
Yeah, it's 4 million. Is that with the cap increase, Suthy or Biehner?
Sorry, I'm just trying to find it back here. That's with the cap at 87.5.
Yeah, so that is.
So, yeah.
Okay.
See, that's tough. Like, what's that?
Real
1, 2,
tough.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you've got Robertson, Gregor, McMahon, Lagesson, and Lajoie, and Joseph Wall all on sub-league min contracts. Like, that's
Well,
something that...
Joseph Wall's still there next year at that price.
But that's what I
Yeah.
mean, is like most of your team that is filling out these side spots are on contracts that on paper don't actually qualify. Matthew Nyes is at 925 this year and next. Like, I don't know.
Which
I
is
just...
Go ahead.
It's no. I was
What
going
kind
to
of
say
made
it's,
like
you got to
Saturday
fill in
Night
a lot of
Special?
spots.
Like all these players on that type of contract contributed so much. It was great to see because we don't often see that many people on that type of contract contributing to the Leafs.
Yeah, and then next year it's, do you want those guys back because they've proven themselves, or do you try to find 9 more needle in the haystacks like Dubas was doing every year? Like it's do you want to keep
tough.
rolling the dice with the people on the outskirts of the lineup, or do you sign William Nylander? And that's kind of what it's coming down to. Like he's the biggest piece of the pie that takes probably 5 guys out of the lineup. Like 10 million, that's 5 guys making 2, that's 4 guys making 2.5,
that's a lot
you
of-
know? I think that's the math people got to start looking at, is like, as much as we love it, I also
No
don't
one
want the
wants
rest
to
of the
look
team.
at that right now, Johnny.
I just don't want the rest of the team to get hurt for it.
I got the biggest blinders on right now that we don't have to fucking look at that. This year is fantastic so far. Let's
It
roll
is.
with it.
Let's go to questions from the Twitterverse here. So Lucas Hainsworth, Luke Man, what strategies or tactics do we employ to maintain control throughout the game? You guys are more up on the actual play of hockey than I am, so hey, you want to take it?
I'm going to say their best defense is their offense. When they start cycling and having like puck domination, that's when they're the best team, right? Even when it goes in their defensive end, they have quick breakouts. These guys are an offensive team. That's what they are. So when they're playing that type of game, they win a lot more than they lose.
What and the beauty of it right now is with some of the additions and the way that they play, it's brought a little bit of a different aspect to it. And we've mentioned a couple times how even just like Matthew Nyes, for instance, he's got the skill, but he throws his body around. He's not afraid to go in the corners. He almost likes to go in the corners. So you have the skill to control and dominate when you have the puck. And then when you don't have the puck, you're not afraid to go and get it. And the impact that's had on the rest of the team. So Nyes playing like that on the same line with Marner and Matthews, directly impacting that. Yeah. And then you have Domi, who is just like
that's the biggest
a dog
thing,
on a bone.
That third line, if they can dominate offensively, especially like with Robertson going too, that's a huge difference between having an offensive third line and like a shutdown third line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what this team has struggled with is what does the third line do other than just hold the puck in the offensive zone for like a minute until the lines change? And it's like, well, that's great and all. It's better than the puck being in our end, but nobody got a shot off, so we're just kind of killing time. So it's nice that it seems that they're finally clicking, they're producing, the confidence is, I think, like the other thing, right? Like the team plays like they know that they can make that pass. They know they can push through those two defensemen in front of the net. Like it's taking that extra chance that you have the skill advantage there. You know you have that extra foot of space that you needed to make that play. I think, whatever it was that flipped their confidence back on at the end of the Columbus game, I think carried over, like you said.
Yeah, and I think if you have Robertson and especially Domi playing with like great confidence, that makes a huge difference in this team. Like Domi from right now to the beginning of the season, totally different player.
Oh yeah, I mean we were wondering if he was just going to finish the season all assists and not score. Like it was getting brutal. But now it seems like he's found what his place is on this team, and like you said, Robertson too. Okay, next question. Fun guy, Southpaw Cal. Start, bench, cut. So start Domi and Mitch combo. Bench Ron McLean. Cut Jonas Siegel.
Well, not even easiest question in the whole fucking universe.
Yeah, I like that it's
Jonas
just...
Siegel's been so roasted on Twitter the last 24 hours. He hasn't tweeted. He's in a cubbyhole somewhere right now.
What's funny is there's no parameters for this. It's just these are the what I like, something that's okay and something I don't like. So good.
He's busy drying Dubas's tears right now.
There's been so many good memes about him and Dubas. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at a picture from at Mario.
The one with like all the analytics.
Cosentino. Yeah, there's like stuff written on the wall, and Dubas is like.
That's exactly it. You gotta find
this picture's. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here. This picture's so funny.
He's never caught in this much shit as he has right now. No, that's not even the one. That's not even the one.
No, this is good though. Just wide-eyed.
You guys keep going. I'll find it.
Spencer's like, what did I get myself into?
It's like, dude, I could have stayed in Toronto. I sold my house in a really bad time to sell my house in Toronto. You dick. Okay. What else we got here for questions? So TJ 477772409. That's a fake at. So give Matthews extra rest and give Domi 1C. So give Matthews an extra game off and start Domi on the first line center. What do you think?
No, definitely not, because we've got New York again on Tuesday, and they're going to be out for blood after we shit kick them.
100%.
Yeah, and while you have John Tavares healthy, he's the number one center if Matthews is down, I think, right? Like,
yeah. Well, and then Tuesday's also, I think, going to be when they give the ceremony for Tavares hitting his 1,000th point. So we want to make sure we, put on a good effort for our captain.
Nice. So, last one here from Mikey D. I am so sorry, Mikey D, of the Believers Pod for forgetting Believers Pod earlier. It's been a long week.
I think you owe him a cameo for that.
Yeah, he can
We
come
owe
on.
him a very steady shout out at the end, at least. Because we
come on
fucking
next
love
episode.
Mikey D. Yeah. Come on.
Start bench cut Timmy's items. He says, I'm starting large double-double benching hockey cards or Timbits and cutting Boston Cream because not a fan. So in the correct format of our start bench cut, let's go with what do we do? Like sandwiches, baked goods, and hot drinks. Start one, bench one, cut one for Timmy's.
You have to pick one of each, or just pick the category?
I think categories. Like you have to start, bench, or cut one of.
Can we go off the board? Because I feel their coffee is the worst in the league.
Dark roast. Their dark roast is the best.
But
No,
do you think there's other hot like? Okay, so like you can say cut beverages then.
Yeah, cut beverages. Anything after that, whatever you want to do. Timbits, hockey cards are fine. Their food is fucking shit.
No.
I
These are
fucking hate
the
Tim Hortons
three.
more than anything.
Sandwiches and other like sandwiches, wraps, bowls, baked goods, so muffins and donuts and cookies and stuff, and beverages. Those are the three categories. Start, bench, cut. So you're benching. Sorry,
I'm starting baked goods.
Okay, go.
Starting baked goods. I'm cutting beverages, and then we're gonna play whatever's after that.
You're benching sandwiches and
Yes,
other menu items.
they're my middle for sure.
Biehner, what do you think?
Starting the drinks. Dark roast all day, every day.
Oh my
I
god!
can't believe I podcast with you.
I'm sorry, I won't spend $8 on a fucking Starbucks.
Buddy, McDonald's coffee is better than Tim's coffee.
Oh yeah, okay. Anyways,
Anyways,
coffee, baked goods, everything else.
Starting beverages.
Starting beverages, benching baked goods. And then
Okay.
the
you're starting
sandwiches and all
beverages
that.
too.
No. I'm just trying to figure out what he was doing. So I'm gonna start. Oh man. Probably okay. I'm starting baked goods because though they are kind of hit and miss, they've got some good. The muffins that have the cream cheese icing inside them, the carrot cake one with the cream cheese in it, or the pumpkin pie one with it.
Pumpkin
Those are
spice.
good. Those ones are good. I like me. Sorry, Mikey. I like me a Boston cream.
I do
the apple
too.
fritters are pretty
That's-
good.
Two best things from Tim
Yeah, they've
Hortons
got-
right there.
They've got some decent baked good items. The cookies are okay. I'm not a big Tim's cookie fan. The reason I'm giving them the edge over sandwiches is because the Turkey Bacon Club used to be my favorite sandwich, and they changed it and ruined it. It used to have
They
honey
did.
mustard, and as a child, when I was like,
It's gone.
I don't know if I like mustard. That was the thing that introduced me to honey mustard, and I was like, I actually like this. And then they were like, actually, we're going to change the bun, and we're going to put mayo instead of honey mustard, and it's going to be artisanal now. I don't like it. I mean, I don't not
So-
like it. It's still just a Turkey
And, like,
Bacon
full
Club, but it's
disclosure,
not
I
the
hate
Tim's Turkey
donuts.
Bacon Club.
And I hate Tim Hortons, period. So I should just remove myself from this.
I'm not a
It's all on
fan either.
YouTube.
If you've been here since day one, I have gone on a couple tirades about Tim Hortons. I do not like Tim's. I usually get horrible customer service there when I go. I don't like the menu items. I think Burger King has ruined this company by constantly adding whatever menu item didn't work for Burger King to the Tim Hortons menu. Like it's
To me, they're
It's
the
so
equivalent
stupid.
of betting on the Sens in a parlay. You don't do
Okay.
it. There's cardinal rules. You don't do it.
so friends don't let friends bet on the Sens is our new
Yes,
motto here at Leafs Late Night.
huge platform that we're running right now. For anyone listening, don't let your friends bet on Sens.
So do you
By
want
the
to
way,
end us
Johnny.
off with what happened there? Oh, what's up, Biehner?
Wendy's owns Tim's, not Burger King.
Oh,
What?
100%.
No,
Yeah.
Burger
Oh,
King.
isn't it Burger
Wendy's
King?
does.
I
That's
thought
why
BK
every
did.
single Every single
are you talking
en route
about?
has
No,
Wendy's
Burger
and
King.
Tim's.
No, I'm
God,
pretty
no.
sure it's BK.
No, Restaurants International is the result of Burger King buying Tim Hortons.
So then they own Wendy's as well.
No, that's just a
I
thing.
literally just Google it.
Wendy's,
How
Tim
dare
Hortons.
you show us up?
Murphy's success with combining coffee and donuts with Wendy's fast food led to the 1995 merger. Yeah, I'm talking in like 2016, Burger King bought Tim Hortons.
Sorry, I'm trying to Google this as we go. Horrible
Yeah.
podcasting.
No, I think
I know.
think
20,
Tony's right here.
August 26, 2014,
They're the parent
Burger King
company.
agreed to merge with Tim Hortons for $11.4 billion to create
Oh my
Restaurant
God.
Brands International.
Also,
It
Tim
ended up
Hortons, if
actually
you're
being
listening,
$12.5 billion.
We will sponsor the hell out of you. We love you.
Operating revenues of $5.73 billion. Yeah. I feel like they lost touch with what Tim Hortons meant to Canada and Canadians and the like hometown classic nostalgia vibes of it, and they keep trying to add things that like nobody asked for. I don't need a lime chipotle ghost
The
pepper
coffee's
bowl
burnt.
from Tim Hortons. Are you insane? Like, put the money towards making the coffee and the donuts taste better.
Get a chicken
Like,
burger from Tim Hortons.
No. Remember when they had the Greek wraps, and that's where they introduced like Greek wraps and potato wedges at one point, and then they were like, actually, the potato wedges are probably a good idea. And they kept those around and they scrapped like everything on that menu is a remnant of an old bad idea. Like it's so fucking annoying walking in there. Anyway, that's my Tim's rant. I could go on
Good
for
rant.
so long. I could do an
Good
entire
rant.
podcast about Tim Hortons. Do you want to finish
You
this off
probably
with
should.
how the how the Sens fucked you tonight?
No, I don't want to really, but I'm going to. Don't ever bet on the Sens because they're the fucking shittiest team in the whole world. And if you have them in a parlay, they're gonna fuck you out of a ton of money. In my last two parlays that I've had them in, I've lost almost over $1,000.
That's
I've hit
so bad.
14 out of 16, and they're the one team that has fucked me. And I know the people are going to say, "Why didn't you cash out? Why didn't you cash out?" Because I didn't have an option. Because the Sens were so fucking terrible. They lost by so many fucking goals that I couldn't do it. Even tonight, I had them by plus 2.5. They were up in the first, and then they fucked me. So if you have a friend who's trying to bet on the Sens, don't let them do it. Be a real good friend. Tap them on the shoulder and say no. No. Fuck those guys.
Oh my god, I'm sorry I'm laughing, but it's
And if we ever have a podcast where I bet on the Sens again, send me to Gamblers Anonymous because that's where I deserve to be. I told Biehn this tonight. I defied the gambling gods and they smited me down. I had a huge parlay where I hit everything tonight except for the Sens. And I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. I took my hand in the cookie jar and I got fucked.
We'll have to send you to Pinto Island.
oh, Pinto Island. Oh, forgot about that one. Do we think DJ's coach number 5 fired of the year? I can't believe
That's
you
the
have
only way
4
I'll ever bet on the
fired
Sens
by
again is
December.
he's the next fucking coach to be fired.
They're chanting it, but I mean,
The
Steos has
fact that
doubled
he
down.
hasn't been fired already, I don't think so. I think Anlauer doesn't want that bill on top of everything that's already gone.
You
Yeah.
motherfuckers got me so heated right now. I am like clenching my hands. I am furious about this.
Okay, quick change. Who can name all the coaches that have been fired this year? We'll finish with that.
I can't even think straight.
Craig Berube, Woodcroft, Evison. Berube,
Yeah.
Woodcroft, Evison.
I think that's it.
Does Babcock count?
No. They didn't play a game before he got fired.
Yeah, that's true. Those are the only ones that jump out at me right now.
I think that's it. Yeah, Oilers.
Woodcroft, Evison, and Berube. Oilers, Wild, and St. Louis.
Is that it? I think that's it.
And I think that makes Martin St. Louis like the 6th tenured coach in the league right now.
Holy
I
shit.
kind of like him as a coach, though. So David Quinn has, I think, the best odds to get fired next.
Yeah, now the third coach
From
fired
San
this
Jose.
season. Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, I don't know. With San Jose, it's the same thing I said about
not even
the
true.
Wild.
DJ Smith got it. Lane Lambert, Dave Quinn after that. Sheldon Keefe is fourth.
Not a long tenured job, NHL coaches.
It's a rough go.
Well, all right. Thank you for tuning in.
Also-
It's been a fun one. Lots of
Yep.
emotions. But what's that also?
Anybody listening, if you want to contribute to my parlay fund, please do so because Senators fucked me terribly. It's the holiday season. I can use it.
Yeah, we'll have some shirts up. Buy our new shirts.
A GoFundMe.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate having you on, as always. When do the Leafs play next? And who was New York?
Tuesday, Rangers.
Tuesday? Rangers.
Yeah.
I don't even have to look it up. Thanks.
At home?
At home, Johnny
Yeah.
T gets his silver stick for 1,000 points.
Ooh.
I was thinking when I was designing some merch, we should do a calendar next year that has all the Leaf games marked on the days, but like it's a calendar of us.
Oh, nice.
So you can follow along with Leaf games and have some fun Leafs late night pictures, you know?
Yep.
I don't know. This is brainstorming.
It's all different cartoons of stuff we've said on the pod over the years.
That's what I was trying to do, but I don't know. You'll see with the new stuff when it comes out. I'm trying to play the outro. There we go.
Also, Johnny, did you ever follow up on that Canadian
us on
ethnic singer
Twitter and
who
Instagram.
shorted everybody and made a ton of money?
The what?
Remember when she sang that fucking Canadian national anthem? Super short.
Oh yeah.
Did we ever follow up on her?
What do you mean? What happened?
The huge under.
Oh yeah. Oh, if there was a bet
Is
going
she in
on
jail
there?
yet?
Oh my god, no! We should check